35 years old. I live alone just outside of San Antonio, Texas, in a quiet neighborhood where nothing ever really happens. At least that's what I used to think. I'm divorced, no kids. I work as a real estate agent, which means my schedule is unpredictable. Some days I'm out showing houses for hours. Other days, I'm home buried in contracts and phone calls. It started about 8 months ago. I had a property listed on the edge of town, big piece of land, isolated. The kind of place where the nearest neighbor is a quarter-mile away. When I pulled up for a late afternoon showing, I noticed a black Ford pickup parked across the road. Engine off, windows tinted. I assumed it was someone scouting the property. During the showing, I kept feeling like I was being watched. Every time I stepped near a window, I saw him. A man standing near the fence line across the road. Mid-40s maybe. Baseball cap. Arms relaxed at his sides. Just staring at the house, staring at me. I gave a small professional wave, the kind you give neighbors when you're working. He didn't wave back, didn't nod, didn't move. I brushed it off. In Texas, people stare, especially in rural areas. The showing ended, my clients left. The truck was gone by the time I locked up. I forgot about it. A week later, I was at H-E-B picking up groceries. As I walked out to my car, I felt that same sensation. That heavy awareness, like someone's eyes were fixed on me. I looked up. Black Ford pickup, 2 rows over, engine running. My chest tightened. I couldn't see through the tinted windows, but I knew. It was him. I got in my car and locked the doors immediately. The truck didn't move while I loaded groceries, but the second I pulled out of the parking lot, it followed. At first, I convinced myself it was coincidence, until I turned into my neighborhood, and it turned too. I drove past my house, it drove past too. I made a loop around the block. So did it. That's when I pulled into my driveway abruptly. The truck slowed as it passed my house, and for just a second, the driver's window rolled down slightly. I saw his face clearly for the first time. Expressionless, calm, studying my home. Then he drove off. After that, things escalated slowly. My mailbox door would be open when I hadn't checked it. My trash bin would be knocked over. One morning I found muddy boot prints near my side gate. Large boots, men's size. I live alone. I installed security cameras that weekend. For 3 nights, nothing happened. On the 4th night, at exactly 3:11 a.m., I got a motion alert. I opened the app. He was standing at the end of my driveway. Not hiding, not rushing, just standing there, looking at my house. He stayed for almost 4 minutes, then walked back to the street and disappeared into the dark. I called the police the next morning. They asked if he'd threatened me. No, if he'd stepped onto the porch. No. If he damaged property. No. Then technically he's not committing a crime, the officer told me. That's when the fear shifted. It wasn't dramatic. It wasn't loud. It was controlled. Deliberate. He knew exactly how close he could get without crossing a legal line. 2 weeks later, I came home after a late showing. It was around 9:30 p.m. My porch light was on. I never leave it on. I turned it off before I left. I unlocked the door carefully. Nothing looked disturbed inside. But when I walked into my bedroom, my closet door was open. I always keep it closed. And on my bed, there was a single object. A black baseball cap. The same style he had been wearing the day I first saw him. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I just stood there, staring at it, because that meant one thing. He had been inside my house. The police finally took it seriously. They dusted for prints, checked the cameras, and that's when we saw it. The footage from 2 nights earlier. At 2:58 a.m., he approached my front door, used something to unlock it, walked inside, stayed for 14 minutes, then left. He never turned on a single light. He moved like he'd been there before, like he'd memorized the layout. They arrested him 3 days later. He had prior charges for stalking in another county. When they searched his truck, they found photos, printed photos of me, at open houses, at the grocery store, getting into my car. One photo was taken through my living room window at night while I was sitting on the couch. What still bothers me isn't what he did, it's what he didn't do. He never touched me, never threatened me, never said a word. Even during the arrest, he was calm. When they put him in the back of the squad car, he looked at me and smiled, like this was just a delay, not the end. I sold that house 2 months later, moved to a gated community, upgraded my security system. I'm 35. I'm careful. I'm not naive. But sometimes when I wake up around 3:11 a.m., I still check the driveway camera just to make sure there isn't a black Ford pickup parked at the end of my street. I had just moved to New York City. I was renting a tiny studio apartment in Queens while working the overnight shift at a Midtown Manhattan office building as a security guard. The building wasn't anything special. About 18 floors, mostly corporate offices, law firms, and one accounting company that rented out the entire 12th floor. My shift was from 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. If you've never been inside a Manhattan office building after midnight, it's a completely different world. During the day, it's chaos, people everywhere, elevators constantly moving, phones ringing. But at night, it's just empty. The hum of fluorescent lights, the distant rumble of the subway beneath the streets, the occasional siren echoing through the city. Most nights were routine. Monitor the cameras, do hourly patrols, log any unusual activity. That Thursday started normal. Around 1:45 a.m., I was doing my patrol on the 12th floor. That floor always gave me a weird feeling, not because anything had ever happened there, but because it was always colder than the rest of the building. The AC supposedly shut off at 8 p.m., but somehow 12 always felt like someone left a freezer door open. As I walked down the main hallway, my footsteps echoed against the polished floors. Motion sensor lights flicked on one by one as I passed. Halfway down the hall, I heard something. A phone ringing. Not a cell phone, an old office desk phone. I stopped, listened. It rang again. I knew for a fact no one was scheduled to be in that building. The cleaning crew had left at midnight. I checked the sign-in sheet myself. The ringing was coming from one of the offices near the end of the hallway. Suite 1207. I walked toward it slowly. The door was slightly open. The ringing stopped. I stood there for a moment, debating whether to announce myself. Finally, I pushed the door open. The office lights were off, but one desk lamp was on, casting a soft yellow glow over a single cubicle. The phone sitting on the desk was off the hook and gently swaying, like someone had just put it down. My chest tightened. "Hello?" I called out. No answer. I stepped inside and scanned the room. Empty. Completely empty. I walked over to the desk and placed the receiver back on the hook. The second I did, every office phone in the room started ringing at once, at least 20 phones, all perfectly in sync. I froze. The sound was overwhelming in the silent building. Then they all stopped at the exact same time. Silence. Dead silence. I backed out of the room slowly and shut the door. I told myself it was some kind of system malfunction, maybe a line test, maybe an automated call. I went back to the security desk and checked the internal call logs. No incoming calls were registered for the 12th floor. None. At 3:12 a.m., I saw movement on camera 12 hallway, the camera facing the 12th floor corridor. There was a figure standing at the far end of the hallway, tall, completely still, wearing what looked like a long, dark coat. I leaned closer to the monitor. The person was facing directly at the camera, but their face was wrong. It looked blurred, like static over a TV screen. I immediately radioed the other guard stationed in the lobby. "Do you have anyone signed in?" I asked. "No," he replied. "Why?" I didn't answer. I grabbed the elevator key and went up. As the elevator climbed, I felt my stomach drop. When the doors opened to the 12th floor, the hallway was empty. No one there. I stepped out slowly. The motion lights flicked on. Nothing unusual. I walked to the exact spot where the figure had been standing on camera. There was nothing. But as I turned around, I heard footsteps behind me, not echoing like mine, heavier, dragging slightly. I spun around. Empty hallway. Then from inside suite 1207, a phone rang. Once. I didn't move. It rang again. And then I heard it. A voice, not from the hallway, not from behind me, from inside my earpiece radio, whispering. "Why did you hang up?" Static exploded through the radio. I ripped it off my ear. My heart was pounding so hard I thought I might pass out. The elevator dinged behind me. Slowly, like someone had called it. I turned. The doors were open, but no one was inside. The lights in the hallway flickered once, and for just a split second, at the far end of the corridor, I saw that same tall figure again, closer this time, standing outside suite 1207. Then the lights stabilized, and it was gone. I didn't finish my shift upstairs. I went back down and stayed at the desk until sunrise. The next morning, I pulled the camera footage. Between 3:10 a.m. and 3:18 a.m., the footage on the 12th floor glitches. But here's the part I've never told anyone. When the video comes back, it shows me standing in the hallway, frozen, facing the wall, for 6 full minutes. Not moving, not reacting, just standing there. Like I was listening to something, but I don't remember that at all. I quit that job a month later. Sometimes when I'm in my apartment at night, I swear I hear an old office phone ringing, and once, at exactly 3:12 a.m., my phone lit up. No caller ID, no number, just the word 12. I didn't answer. It stopped ringing on its own. I still live in New York, but I don't work nights anymore. And I never ever pick up unknown calls after midnight. I moved into a very cheap old apartment because I didn't have many options. The landlord was a strange man. He spoke slowly and looked at me for a long time before giving me the keys. Before I left, he said something very serious. "Don't stay awake after midnight." I laughed nervously and asked him why. He didn't answer. He just repeated the same sentence. "Don't stay awake after midnight." I thought he was joking. The apartment was on the 7th floor of an old building. The walls were thin, and sometimes I heard footsteps outside my door even when the hallway was empty. The first night was normal. I ate dinner, watched videos on my phone, and went to bed around midnight. At 12:07 a.m., I heard footsteps outside my apartment. Slow footsteps, careful footsteps, like someone trying not to make noise. They stopped right in front of my door. Then someone knocked. 3 slow knocks. Knock. Pause, knock. Pause, knock. I didn't open the door. After about a minute, the footsteps walked away. I told myself it was just someone going to the wrong apartment. The second night was worse. The footsteps came again. This time they stopped outside my bedroom window, but my apartment didn't have a balcony. I stood up slowly and walked toward the window. My heart was beating faster than usual. I pulled the curtain slightly with shaking hands. There was nothing outside, only darkness. Then I heard breathing behind me, slow breathing, very close, like someone standing directly behind my shoulder and watching me without moving. I turned around quickly. Nobody was there, but the window behind me was open. I was sure I closed it earlier. I walked to the window and locked it. Then I sat on the bed and tried to sleep. The third night was the worst. I woke up exactly at midnight. Not because of an alarm, because I heard my name whispered from inside the wall, softly, like someone was trapped inside concrete and trying to speak through it. "Come closer," the voice said. I sat up slowly. My mouth felt dry. The footsteps started again outside the apartment. Slow, careful, stopping every few seconds like someone was listening to make sure I was still inside. Then the knocking started. Not on the door, on the wall behind my bed. 3 slow knocks, then silence. Then the voice whispered again, "Don't sleep after midnight." My hands were shaking. I didn't sleep that night. The 4th night, I started feeling watched, even when I was alone. The bathroom mirror looked strange. Sometimes I thought my reflection was standing slightly closer to the glass than I was. Once I thought I saw my reflection smiling when I wasn't. I told myself it was stress. Tonight is the 5th night. I am writing this from inside my closet. I am hiding because at 12:03 a.m., I heard someone unlock my apartment door from the outside. Slowly, like they knew I was inside. The footsteps are walking inside the hallway now, very slowly, stopping in front of each door for a few seconds before moving again. I think they stopped in front of my closet because I can hear breathing outside the door. Slow breathing, patient breathing, and something just whispered my name again. But this time it sounded exactly like my own voice. The strange thing is, I don't remember moving into this apartment. I don't remember signing any lease. I don't remember how I got here. And I just realized something terrifying. There is no sound outside tonight. No cars, no wind, no people. Only complete silence, like the world is empty. And the closet door handle just moved. Slowly, very slowly. And I think I just heard someone whisper from inside my head, "Open the door." I found the mirror in my grandmother's abandoned house in Texas. The house had been empty for years. Dust covered the old wooden floor, and broken windows let the wind move slowly inside the rooms. I don't know why I went inside that house that night. Maybe I wanted to remember something from my childhood. Maybe I just wanted to prove to myself that I wasn't afraid of old places. In the living room, I saw it. The mirror. It was standing alone against the wall, covered with a torn white cloth. The cloth looked too clean compared to everything else in the house. Almost like someone had placed it there recently. The wind moved slightly through the broken window, touching the edges of the cloth. Something inside me felt uncomfortable, like I shouldn't touch it. But curiosity is a strange thing. It pushes you closer to things you fear. I walked slowly toward the mirror. The wooden floor creaked under my shoes. The house was completely silent except for my breathing. I reached out and grabbed the cloth. For a moment, I hesitated. Then I pulled it off. The mirror was old. The wooden frame had strange, carved marks I didn't recognize. They looked like symbols, but not from any language I knew. At first, I saw only my reflection, just a man standing in an empty, dusty house. Tired eyes, unshaven face, dark shadows under my eyes from long nights without sleep. Then I noticed something wrong. My reflection was smiling, but I wasn't. I touched my face slowly. My reflection did the same, but the smile stayed on its face, not natural, not human, too wide, too still. I stepped back. The reflection stayed inside the mirror, standing in the same place, watching me. I told myself it was just stress or bad lighting. I turned around and walked toward the door. I wanted to leave. I was almost outside when I heard my own voice behind me. "Don't leave me here." The voice sounded exactly like mine. Deep, slow, perfectly copied. I stopped walking. My hands started shaking. Slowly, I turned back. The reflection was still inside the mirror, but now it was standing closer to the glass, like it had moved without walking. Its smile was gone. Its eyes were wider, like it was angry that I tried to leave. I swallowed hard and said, "Who are you?" The reflection didn't move its lips at first. Then it answered, "I am the man who stayed when you left." The words made my chest feel tight. "What do you want?" I asked. The reflection stayed silent for a few seconds. Then it said very quietly, "Switch places with me." My legs felt weak. "Why?" I whispered. "Because I am tired of the darkness," the reflection answered. "I've been watching your life through your eyes. I have felt your pain, your fear, and your loneliness. Now it is my turn to live." I shook my head. "No." I turned and ran toward the door again. But the door wouldn't open. It was as if the house was holding me inside. Behind me, I heard a scratching sound coming from the mirror. Slow, sharp, like long nails scraping the inside of glass. Then I heard whispering, my name, over and over, coming from the mirror. I turned around. The mirror was empty, no reflection, only darkness inside the glass, like someone had turned off the light inside another world. I felt breathing behind me, very slow, very cold. Something was standing directly behind me. Then I heard the voice whisper into my ear, "Now I am outside." I didn't move, I didn't turn around, because I knew something terrifying. If I turned, I would see my own face smiling at me, and I think I would never be able to return to my body again. I never believed in ghosts. I worked night shifts at a small warehouse outside Texas city limits. The place is always silent after midnight, except for the sound of the metal doors shaking when the wind hits them. I don't like turning my flashlight on when I walk outside. When it's dark, my eyes slowly adjust, and I can see shapes moving far away. But if I turn the flashlight on, I can only see what the light touches, and I feel like someone could watch me from outside the light. So I usually walk in the dark. It started 3 weeks ago. I was checking the storage units when I felt someone watching me from the old fence behind the warehouse. At first I thought it was just my imagination, but when I turned around, I saw her. A girl standing near the fence. She was wearing a white dress that looked too clean for the dusty ground behind the warehouse. She had long black hair, and her head was tilted down in a strange way, like her neck was broken, but she was still standing. I tried talking to her. "Hey, you shouldn't be here." The wind moved the grass behind her, but she didn't respond. I walked closer, maybe 10 steps. Then I stopped, because I realized something terrifying. I couldn't see her face, not because it was dark, but because her hair was covering it completely, and her head was hanging at an unnatural angle, like she was staring at the ground forever. I felt my chest tighten. Something inside me told me not to get closer, so I turned and went back inside. The next night I saw her again. This time she was standing beside the loading dock door, maybe 5 meters away, still wearing the white dress, still standing with her head tilted down. When I looked at her, she slowly raised her hand and pointed behind me. I didn't turn around. I stayed completely still. After maybe 20 seconds, I heard the warehouse back door open behind me, slowly, like someone was pushing it just enough to make the metal hinges cry. The wind wasn't strong that night, but the door kept moving. When I finally turned back to the girl, she was gone. The third night was worse. I found small, wet footprints inside the warehouse. They started from the storage door and stopped directly behind my chair, like someone had been standing there, watching me work for a long time. I felt cold air touching the back of my neck. Slow breathing. Then I heard a girl whisper very softly, "Don't look behind you." My hands started shaking. I closed my eyes. I don't know how long I stayed like that, maybe 10 minutes, maybe an hour. When I opened my eyes, the footprints were gone. But I knew something was still inside the warehouse, with me, watching, waiting. Tonight is the 4th night. I am hiding inside the warehouse bathroom and writing this on my phone, because I just saw her again. She is standing outside the bathroom door, closer than before. I can hear the soft sound of her breathing, slow and wet, like she is drowning somewhere inside her throat. Her eyes are completely black, not dark, completely black, like empty holes. Her mouth is slightly smiling, and this time she is not pointing anywhere. She is just waiting. The hallway light just went out. I hear footsteps walking slowly toward the bathroom. Slow. Very slow. Like someone who knows I cannot escape. The door handle just moved once, then stopped. I am afraid to breathe, because I think she knows I'm here. And I think I just heard my name whispered from outside the door, but the strange thing is, the voice sounded exactly like mine. If someone finds this message, remember, if you work night shifts near the old warehouse road in Texas and see a girl in a white dress standing in the dark, don't walk closer, don't turn your flashlight on, and never listen when she tells you not to look behind you, because I think she doesn't want me. I think she wants someone else. Someone who is reading this right now.